All right, we're on part 3. Battery is got a little while to go, so I'm going to have to shorten this down a bit. But this is where I made a huge major mistake. I went with one of the 1-800 tax services. I'm not going to say which one, but my understanding is they're all pretty much the same. Okay? You contact them, they talk great, they make all these promises, they say all these things, they have you sign these contracts, and then once you sign the contract, you can't talk to them anymore. The only way I had contact was through email. That was it. There was no way to contact anyone. No phone calls. The phone numbers I had went dead. Okay? And this is one of the big tax services that's constantly advertising. All right? Phone number went dead. Or you would put on hold and you had to go through like 10 or 15 robocalls until you finally got to a person, if you were lucky. But most of the time you got a voicemail and you had to leave a voicemail and they don't call you back. Well, I had a levy put on my account for $20,000. That is a significant amount of money. I don't care who you are. My income was running about $150,000 a year at this point, not the $200,000 before COVID. 150. 20,000 of that is a significant portion of my income. And I'm panicking because bills had gone up, revenue had dropped. You know, bills had gone up, rent went up $2,000 a month. I lost $2,000 a month in income because that guy left. He's starting a competing business 4 blocks away. Okay, so that's fun too. And I talked to them, the tax service, when I can get hold of them, and saying, we got to stop this levy. The guy I used before was good at stopping the levies. He was like, we have to do something with the tax guy to compensate, but he'll stop the levy. Well, this time, these guys were like, we can't stop the levy. We can't stop it. You're going to lose that money. And that's near shut down my business after a summer of no income and increased rents. So I called the revenue officer and talked to him. And he tells me, I can't talk to you. I have to talk to your tax service. Okay? I later found that was a lie, that he is required to talk to me. That he said, I have to talk to your tax service. And I'm not going to release the levy until you do certain things. Okay? And well, my brother said, file for bankruptcy. I contact a bankruptcy attorney about 4 days before the levy takes hold. And he tells me he can't help me, that it's a different situation than my brother had. And good luck. You're going to lose that money. And sure enough, I lost that $20,000. Just yanked right out of my account. So I start looking at what I can do. I contact the tax service, and they basically say, we can't help you with any more of this. You need to fill out all this paperwork. Basically, the revenue officer is going to insist that you max out all your credit cards, you take second mortgages out on your house, and if that isn't enough money, you're going to do this. Well, I started researching bankruptcy and started looking into bankruptcy attorneys. And I called the one back my brother had used, and he said, well, I can't help you. You're the wrong kind of bankruptcy. I was learning that there's different chapters of bankruptcy at this point. And since I owned a small business and it was a sole proprietorship, I'm kind of stuck going one path only. And he couldn't help me with that path. So I started looking around. I called the guy he recommended. The guy seemed like an old Texas gentleman. Said, you know, I know you're going through stress. I know you're going through drama. I can help you. Keep in mind, this is within 2 weeks of that last levy taking hold. And the IRS officer is about to throw another one at me. And this guy says, I can help you. We just need all this paperwork filled out. I was already upset with IRS because they wanted a life history of me. Okay? Well, I didn't know, but bankruptcy requires the same life history. They want to know where you spent every dollar for the last year. That means going through every single bank record, every single bill, every single everything. And if you don't have it, you got to get it. So if you're not the best record keeper, you had better get that way. Well, anyhow, I started talking to this guy, and I'd go a week or two without hearing from him, and I'd say, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. What's the next step? And a week later, I'd hear, okay, we need to do this. Just figured he was busy. Okay? Keep in mind, this is near Christmas time. And then 4 or 5 days before Christmas, I start pressing the guy saying, we need to get things done. We need to get things done. What is going on? And I wouldn't get a response for 2 or 3 days. I'd have to call and leave messages and stuff. At this point, my dumbass should have gotten a different attorney. But I made that video. I'm a very trusting person. This guy came recommended from 2 other attorneys and the one my brother had used. So I felt like I should be okay. And he seemed like he was okay. Okay? Well, I should have known that with my luck with dating women, what that would mean. Well, anyhow, it turns out that he didn't help me. What happened is the day before the levy took hold, and this time it was $30,000. This time it was going to shut me down. I was going to become homeless. There was no way around any of it because I couldn't make any house payments. I couldn't pay my employees. I couldn't make office rent. I couldn't do anything with the way this guy was going, with what the IRS agent was doing. Why he wants to shut me all down, I couldn't figure it out. I understand it now. Okay? Well, the day before this gets shuts down, the guy gets back to me and says, I can't help you. You're a procrastinator. I've got an email chain for 2 weeks where I'm constantly emailing him, asking him what's going on, and calling his office. I use Google Voice for my personal calls, so I have records of who I've called when. And they're on the internet. I can pull them up at any given time. And I've used it in a courtroom before. So I know that the court will accept it as evidence. So, and then he says, after you're a procrastinator, I can't help you. By the way, I've had COVID for 3 days. And I'm too sick to do anything. So sure enough, the next day, IRS got $30,000 more. That put me in a really bad position. I can't pay my employees, can't pay office rent, can't pay my household bills, can't pay anything. In fact, that levy hit before I paid December's bills. Now, one of the things the first bankruptcy attorney had told me to do is get money where the IRS can't find it. And, you know, the IRS would not like me saying this. I'd probably get in trouble for this somehow or another. But, you know, I'm glad I did that. And apparently a lot of people do it because of the way the IRS behaves. A lot of people just start opening accounts everywhere and moving money everywhere to keep these levies from destroying their lives. Anyhow, during this whole time, I'm trying to contact the IRS revenue agent. It's Christmas vacation. He's not in the office. No return on phone calls. My accountant, one of the supervisors there, said she would help me and to quit worrying about that 800 tax service. She couldn't get hold of the IRS. They wouldn't respond. She also has an accountant hotline that they can use. They said, once you get to a revenue officer, you're in la la land. That man can do whatever he wants as long as he gets money out of you. He has no controls. He has no limits. He can destroy your life. He can destroy your business. Go home, drink a bottle of wine, wake up and destroy the next person the next day. And it's what they do. Okay? And it doesn't make sense that they would do this, but after doing some research, it appears that it is a common tactic of the IRS to do stuff like this. So let's explain it. First, rich people don't have IRS problems. They're rich. Well, they just hire an attorney. The IRS doesn't bother them much because they'll hire an attorney. And it's not worth their time and effort. That explains why there's so many wealthy, famous people with huge IRS bills and no one does anything. Because they just hire an attorney and put a stop to it. Poor people don't have any money. So what is the IRS going to do? Take away their Cheerios? Take away their mac and cheese? Because that's about all they can take. You know, there's nothing for them to take. So the IRS targets the middle class. And their tactics is to hammer you with levies and take away all your money so you can't fight them. The IRS has a special court. You don't meet in a courtroom like a normal person. You meet in an IRS court. That is a major flag of corruption, in my opinion. If the institution trying to destroy your life has their own judge, you're going to get nowhere. And some of the people I've talked to on this says, even with a tax attorney, they always rule in the IRS favor. You never get money back out of the IRS. You never get an apology. You rarely get anything done. Sometimes you will get some of the penalties and interest removed. The payroll taxes, they are angry people when it comes to that, and do everything they can to destroy you because you owed that money. And that's where I'm at. Now, before you think about anything, when I got divorced, I made sure the divorce decree had multiple lines in it that these payroll taxes were the responsibility of my ex-wife. Multiple lines, okay? It says very plainly in one spot that it is her responsibility to take care of any taxes associated with the daycare since she got it in the divorce. And all this problem with IRS is due to that divorce. Because at this point, I'd already filed 2 years of payroll taxes. 2 years of my income taxes. And the other 2 years are coming out of the accountant right now. So all my taxes would have been up to date. I was getting everything fixed, everything corrected, when this idiot IRS revenue officer started using the nuke to destroy my life. Okay? Now, here's their tactic. Levy, 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 remove their money. They can't hire someone to fight you. They can't fight you anyhow because they have the court. It is in their control. You can't talk to them because they're a special branch. The regular people in the IRS, I had one agent tell me, I don't know their names, so don't even ask, tell me that they are rogue. They do what they want. They have no controls. That once you get in their hands, you're screwed, especially if you're not wealthy. And that's where I'm at. He's still coming after me right now, trying to do everything he can, even though I've managed to file bankruptcy. And that puts me in the spot where I'm at right now. I have filed bankruptcy, but part of bankruptcy is paying back payments on a timely manner to a trustee. Okay? My income is seasonal, extremely seasonal. January is little to no income. I really needed the money the IRS seized from me to get through January, February, March. That $50,000 they took would have got me through there with little to no trouble. Bills paid, employees paid, everything going, still some money in the end so I could pay my tax bill when April came. Okay? At least half of it. Well, now I'm going through January, February, March with little to no income, so the bills are piling up and piling up and piling up. January, I think my income was a big $300. Well, take that back. One of my ex-employees gave me an idea on selling short-term passes, and my income wasn't nearly $300 or $400. Well, income was basically zero. My business revenue was about $1,500. Okay, all that went to paying rent, given to the rent landlord so I could keep the business open. I also started to GoFundMe and got about $6,000 there. That went to rent. The money I'd squirreled away off to the side kept me in food. There wasn't enough money to pay my employees, and I lost 2 employees over that. One of them recently, we'll talk about that later. But I lost 2 employees because I couldn't pay them when they wanted to be paid. None of this was my fault, but you know, them being what they were, I do understand it. Okay? The one who broke contract, no, I don't understand that one. You shouldn't have broken contract. Okay? And we'll discuss that one later. But anyhow, so I was fed, my kids were fed, my cats were fed, household bills were paid. I was not paying house payment, not paying car payments, not paying office rent. GoFundMe got office rent paid. February comes along. My total revenue for February was probably about $4,000. Office rent is $7,000. So you know what happened there. Okay? No, my total revenue in the business was close to $10,000. And between payroll and office rent, I am left with nothing. Okay? The money I had squirreled away, there's still a little bit of money there, but not much. So that's got us current, because we're on spring break right now and have no revenue. After spring break, I'll probably make as much money the 2 or 3 weeks after spring break that I made in all of March. I mean all of February and January combined. April will be January, February, and March combined. And May will match April. So as long as I can get to April, I'm okay. But I have to make these payments to the trustee. And that's where the problem comes in. The IRS had been telling us one number all along, and then all of a sudden, a huge number comes in from the IRS. I have submitted the forms to move the tax debt back to my wife. Okay? The $200,000 or $300,000 of accumulated penalties and interest on that payroll tax should have been moved to her. They're not moving it. They will probably move it after they get my house. So right now I'm emailing my accountant, my bankruptcy attorney when we're done with this video, and asking him what happens if I can't make this payment, because I'm probably not making it. It went from $6,000 a month to probably over 10 because of what the IRS just did. In addition, I didn't pay child support for 2 years because I didn't have any income. Well, it turns out the child support people don't care. In Texas, you don't get to talk to them if you're the guy paying the money. Apparently the women get to talk to them, but the guy does not. Okay? And they send everything through the mail, snail mail. No email, no phone calls, no nothing, snail mail. And then if they don't get a response in 3 or 4 days, they file your cases completed from non-contact. It takes 3 or 4 days for me to get the letter from Austin to my house. So I'm fighting with that constantly. If I can get that reduced, these payments drop back to a reasonable level again. But most people are telling me, good luck, child support, they don't change anything anywhere, anyhow, for any reason. My income's dropped by 30-40% over last year at this time, and I can't talk to anyone about that. I just have to suck it up and pay the child support for a much higher income level than I currently have. There's nothing I can do about it. I just have to lose my house, live out of a car, and possibly lose my business so I can pay child support payments I can't afford because they won't talk to me. This is all massively ridiculous. The IRS is after me for debt that is very clearly court documents, not mine. They don't care. I even asked the revenue officer about that. The one and only time he's actually talked to me and responded to my messages. And he said, your name's on it. That's all I need. Doesn't matter. So this is something for you guys to think about when you go through divorce. I'll make a separate video on all this, just listing what to think about when you go through divorce. Whenever you put in that divorce decree, the IRS will not honor it. You are the one they go after. They do not go after the women. Child support is the exact same way. They come after you, not her. She has as far as I can tell, I could be wrong on this, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I am. As far as I can tell, they talk to her a lot more readily than they will talk to me. They do not communicate with me other than pay up or go to jail. Pay up or we do this. Okay? Well, I don't have money to pay them. I have not had revenue or income for 6 months because of the IRS. Well, now you know where I'm at right now. What am I doing right now? Yeah. We'll make that part 4.